Everybody, it's Jeff Bessa, Charting Horse Value, with a new video to talk about a couple changes I rolled out onto the charts. These came from a customer. These are recommendations from a customer, and I'm greatly appreciative. Throughout my time running this, I've gotten excellent feedback from many customers. For example, the Plus came from a customer idea to ask me, hey, which horse do you like the best going into the race? The ranks, the way you see these dashes now in the ranks, and it's a lot easier to see the rank sorts. That came from a customer. This over here, putting the race style, claiming allowance, main and special weight stakes, that came from a customer. I don't know if this came from a customer, this idea of scoring the races. That might have been my own idea. But a lot of different ideas have come from customers, including these two new ones. So if you have an idea, something you think would help you make the charts better, please let me know. Excuse me. So the first change is in the form cycle. And what we'd previously seen in the form cycle is either a 1 for a horse coming off a 3-month layoff or longer, like this one, Blue Shine, or a 2-3 for a horse coming, making second or third start off a layoff, and like this horse, Horse Be With You. But now we've added first, second, and third off the claim, C1, C2, C3. So you can see now mathematically nothing is changing over here in the odds lines. This is just an alert to you. The way I would use it, obviously, is I would value horses coming off the claim or maybe second off the claim more if it's a good trainer. Like this C2 with the 2 trainer probably doesn't interest me that much. However, a 9 jockey is getting on board, so this is very over-jocked, 2-9. It's the best jockey in the race. So this is an interesting play, this C2. Here's a C1 with a 1 trainer, but now a 9 jockey gets on board, second best jockey in the race. By the way, that's the morning line favorite. So now you can see these C1s and C2s, okay? Now I will be looking at whether I do anything to best odds as a result of these. When there is a 2-3 or a 1, I do look into the past performances and try to see if there's a race the horse could run back to off the new form cycle. I have to decide if that makes sense for a C1 or a C2 or a C3. Right now, there's no change to either of these odds columns. The other change I made is over here in the fitness column, you'll see either a greater than or a less than. These are horses either stretching out or cutting back by at least a half a furlong. Now, mathematically, nothing changes right now, but typically when I see a horse stretching out, I'd like to see the ES and LS a little bit closer together. That might indicate a horse that could stretch out effectively. For example, this horse down here, 15-1, does have tight coupling between ES and LS. However, the horse is just way too slow at 67 energy. Horses that are cutting back, I'd like to see some good early speed. So, for example, this horse is cutting back by half a furlong, back to 6 furlongs, at least half a furlong, back to 6 furlongs. He's an F8 with 94 early speed. That could bode very well for this horse. Let's look at a couple others in here. Here's one down here. We talked about this horse earlier, Horse Be With You. This horse is third off the claim and second or third off the layoff, both those things working for it, with a 10 trainer. That horse also got an A+ with the spot play, $19 of value. That's a very strong wager. However, that horse does have to beat this 2, who is legitimate. This horse is stretching out while this horse is cutting back. This horse is stretching out, does have tighter clipping than this one, who's cutting back. It's a very interesting race. I'd feel very confident just using the 2 and 6 in that race horizontally. But hopefully the 6 can win. But it's just a couple extra things now. Now, when you look at these cutbacks or stretch outs, obviously the horse is getting a small downgrade as a result of that in the PFDS. Doesn't fit the race perfectly. A horse with no stretch out is not being hurt by the distance in the PFDS percentage column. This is pace, fitness, distance, surface, and this is how well the horse fits the race. So, if your distance is stretching out, you're going to lose a little bit here, anywhere from 0.1 to 0.2, or even longer, depending on how much the stretch out is. So this horse must be stretching out quite a bit with the 0.6. Now, stretch outs also, in addition to looking for tight coupling, you could look for speed carrying longer. My Coralina has an 87 early speed, which is by far the best. And there's no front runners in this race. This horse could inherit the lead and not stop. By the way, the 70 late speed is very comparable to anyone else in the race. This horse looks like the best horse in the race. Stretch out might really help it. Of course, gets the K+ grade. So anyway, it's something else to look at. You can compare the less than or greater than cutback or stretch out to the PFDS percentage. You can look at the pace figures. Now, one thing I'm going to look at right now, the energy column is just an average between early speed and late speed. And I've looked at it before. I haven't felt compelled to change it. I am going to look at that very close over the next week. I may do some things to this energy column. For example, I may have some different formulas for different race conditions. For example, a 7 furlong and longer race, I might keep it the way it is. For sprints, I might emphasize early speed. Sprints being 6.5 and earlier and shorter. And for turf routes, I may put more emphasis on late speed. This will cause a small change to the energy. And then I may add a factor in with the stretch out or the cutback to emphasize one or the other more as well. So I'm looking at the energy column. Haven't made any changes right now. If I do, they won't be huge, but they will be to tailor it more to the race condition and the stretch out or cutback. All right, so that's coming. So anyway, I hope you find these changes useful. Please send any more ideas that you have, and let's have a fun week. Thanks.